Texan Live welcomes you to its exclusive coverage of Katy ISD football. It is a Week 11 Saturday morning here at Rhodes Stadium in Katy, overcast skies, and this is the District 19 6A championship game between the number 2 ranked Katy Tigers and the 24th ranked Cinco Ranch Cougars. Welcome into Rhodes Stadium, everybody. Alongside Ken Moore, I'm Michael Silvers, delighted to have you with us. What more can you say about the Katy Tigers? Ranked number 2 in the state, undefeated at 9-0, dominating opponents in all facets of the game, outscoring their opponents 445-18, average margin of victory of 47.4 points, and they're doing so with some injuries to key players. They've been without starting linebacker Patty Fisher since he was injured in Week 3 against the Woodlands. They lost starting running back Kyle Porter in the first quarter against Straight Jesuit 2 weeks ago. And despite all that, the Tigers just keep motoring along to what they hope is not only another district championship victory today, but also, Ken Moore, an 8th state championship in 7 weeks' time.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to be with you guys once again. Katy, in the story of their season has been their defense. 6 shutouts on the season, as you mentioned, only giving up 18 points. 2 touchdowns, 1 field goal, only 11 points given up in district play. Just some unbelievable numbers for Katy. But then when you look at Cinco Ranch, defense has been the story for them as well. They only give up 14 points per game on the season. They have a steady flow. They rush to the football. So this is going to be a defensive struggle here this afternoon.
The Cinco Ranch Cougars aren't going to wow anyone with the talent they possess, and that comes directly from their head coach, Don Clayton, who was quoted this week as saying he's had more talented teams during his tenure at Cinco Ranch High School, but that this 2015 Cougar squad have found ways to take care of business. He said they do a great job of battling, preparing, and being opportunistic. They'll need all of those things to be a factor today if they want to win their 2nd district title in school history.
Well, the key for Cinco Ranch, we talked about their defense. They've been very opportunistic this season. They forced 24 turnovers on the season, 15 fumble recoveries, 9 interceptions. That's going to be a key for them today. They're going to have to turn over this Katy offense if they want to have a chance at pulling the upset.
Weather is a factor. It's overcast. It is windy, 16-mile-per-hour winds, 69% chance of rain. How is that going to play a factor in today's game?
Well, it can play a big factor on special teams. A lot of times what you'll see, especially if there's rain. Now, right now, it looks like the rain has somewhat dissipated. It's overcast skies. If rain does become a factor later in the afternoon, that's going to be key for the return game. Also for the snappers, the holders on place kicks. Those are going to be the key components. When you talk about on the offensive side of the ball, it's actually an advantage for the offensive skill players, the running backs, the offensive linemen, the wide receivers, because they know where they're going. The defense will have to react to that. But watch the winds today. As you mentioned, 16 miles per hour winds. We've seen wind gusts up to 25 to 30 miles per hour coming out of the northwest. So going into the wind is definitely going to be a challenge for both of these ball clubs this afternoon.
We expect a standing room only crowd here at Rhodes Stadium. Rhodes Stadium is ready. The teams are ready. The fans are ready. We're ready. We hope you are too. The kickoff to this District 19 6A championship game is next.
United States Marine Corps, and Mr. Ron DeMore, United States Army. We'd like to ask that all of our veterans with us today, in or out of uniform, please present a military hand salute to our nation's colors so our other guests may know who you are. Today's national anthem is being sung by the Katy High School Choir under the direction of Mr. Jake Taylor and assisted by Katy Cudahy.
Katy and Cinco Ranch, a battle of two 9-0 teams here on Texan Live to wrap up the District 19 6A Championship. There will be a game here tonight between the Tompkins Falcons and the Katy Taylor Mustangs. Derek Jones and Greg Beatty will have the call of that one to conclude district play. Neither of those teams will make the postseason. Everything's been decided in District 19 6A except for the championship. Katy, Cinco Ranch, Straight Jesuit, and Morton Ranch have all qualified for the playoffs. Cinco Ranch will get Bel Air next Saturday right here at Rhodes at 1 p.m. in the first round of the Division I playoffs. Morton Ranch will take on Lamar. Katy hosts Westside in the Division II bracket next Friday here at Rhodes Stadium. And Straight Jesuit is at Reagan. That game Saturday night at Delmar Stadium. Captains meeting at midfield. Katy is 14-1 all-time against Cinco Ranch. They have outscored the Cougars by a combined tally of 584 to 154. Average margin of victory for the Tigers in this series, 29.1 points. Their closest win came in 2009, a 1-point victory, 21-20. Their biggest win, the first time these two schools locked up in 2000, that was a 60-point spread, 63-3. They've held Cinco Ranch to fewer than 10 points 9 times. The only time Cinco Ranch won this game was in 2008. It's their only district championship in football in school history. Game-winning touchdown, Shane Ross to Tyler Mack, a 24-yard touchdown in overtime. Cinco Ranch outgained Katy in that game, 355 to 261. They had a 14-0 lead in the first quarter. Katy came roaring back to score 14 points before Shane Ross scored on a 3-yard touchdown run with 8 seconds remaining in the first half. Will Jeffrey scored early in the fourth quarter to tie the game at 21 for Katy before the game went to overtime. And Katy would go on. Not all was lost, some silver lining. Although they didn't win the district championship, Katy won the state title at NRG Stadium, defeating Wiley 17-3 that year.
Just a silver lining, eh?
Just a silver lining. Cinco Ranch would lose in the Region 3 semifinals to state runners-up Hightower 24-21.
Well, Katy will receive. Cinco Ranch won the toss. They deferred to the second half. They will take the win. They will kick it from left to right. Katy in their home red jerseys with the white pants, the red stripes, the white helmets with the red Katy logo. Cinco Ranch in the road white jerseys, maroon pants, maroon helmets, maroon numerals. We are ready to kick it off from Jack Rhodes Stadium in Katy ISD for the 19-6A District Championship.
DC Blades, DeAndre Glass are back deep to receive the kick from Brandon Contreras. Welcome to Katy and Cinco 2015. And it's the freshman Glass straight ahead over the 25 and tackled at the 30-yard line. And out comes the top-ranked offense in District 19 6A, the Katy Tigers, 451.6 yards of total offense per game, led out by senior quarterback, 3-year starter Garrett Doron. Threw for 4 touchdowns last week in an 84-0 victory over Tompkins. Kyle Williams and Kadarius Page in the backfield. Tony Mullins, J.C. Angulo out wide. Parker Eichenberger is the tight end. Play fake on first down. Doron launches it deep for Mullins, and it's broken up at the 41-yard line by Ben Mathismeyer.
Huge play by Mathismeyer. Looks like Mullins, he went up to high point this football, but a great play in the secondary for the incompletion. Cinco Ranch defense, they run a 4-2-5. Colin Koipois, Keithy, Umara, and Torres, the front four. Rice and Usami, the linebackers. In the secondary, Smith, Tati, Simmons, Mathismeyer, who just made the big play, and Ugetta.
Second down and a pitch. Kadarius Page for the first time today, and he is tackled by Dami Ilusami, who had 5 tackles against Straight Jesuit last week. It's a 1-yard gain for Page. It's 3rd and long early for Katy.
With 2 strong defensive plays by this tough Cougar defense out of the box. This is where they want to have the Tigers in 3rd and long situations to keep their offense behind the chains.
Cole Shannon is the center for Katy. Peyton Schrack and Dylan Creekmore are the guards. The tackles are Hayden Howerton and Connor Galvan. 3rd down and 9, pistol look with 4 receivers deployed. Doron slings it, first down. Hauled in by Jackson Borowski at the 44-yard line. 13 yards on third down. It's a first down for the Tigers.
There was a big pass play. Borowski just a little turn-in route across the middle of the field, got behind the linebackers in front of the safety. Good throw and catch. Katy picks up the third down conversion.
Doron third in the district in passing, 1,420 yards coming in, 17 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Back under center for the first down play, and he shifts Kyle Williams in motion. On the pitch, Page to the boundary, and Cinco Ranch have it snuffed out, but Page with extra effort spins off a tackle and rumbles out to the 49-yard line, a gain of 5.
Well, that was an excellent individual effort by Page that time. The same toss play to the short side of the field. And again, the Cougar defense was there. This time they could not wrap him up. Page with a couple of spin moves, gets down to the 49. It'll be 2nd and 5.
The Tigers, of course, without injured running back Kyle Porter. 1,111 yards, 23 touchdowns, almost 4,000 rushing yards for his career. Injured in the straight Jesuit game in the first quarter a couple of weeks ago. On second down, Doron under pressure, scrambles to the right, makes a man miss, and that was Ilasami. Doron into Cougar territory and out of bounds at the 36-yard line, 15 yards on the run.
Well, again, another excellent scramble, this time by Doron out to the right. Got outside of Joshua Chu, the 550-pound junior, could not make the tackle. Dorian picks up a big gain on the scramble, another first down for the Tigers.
Pair of receivers to the bottom of your screen on 1st and 10. Screen pass, Mullins, his first catch of the game. Tony Mullins tries to stay in bounds, and he is tackled out in the open field by Austin Simmons, who had a team-high 7 tackles last week against Drake Jesuit. Mullins with a 4-yard catch. It's 2nd down.
And this is a typical Katy drive, mixing up the run and pass, keeping the defense off balance. Dorian showing a lot of patience on offense. Katy Tigers on the move.
Mullins tied in District 19-6A with 8 touchdown catches. That was his 41st reception of the year. Back on the ground, pitch play, right side, Kadarius Page is caught in traffic, and down to the 31 he goes. 3rd down and about 5 forthcoming for the Tigers.
Kyle Williams leading the way as the lead blocker on that toss to the right. He got a good block on the outside linebacker, allowed his tailback to pick up some positive yards. Another big 3rd down here. The Cinco Ranch crowd on the far side trying to urge on their defense to make a big play here in the first period.
And it's a defense that's 2nd in the league, 268.3 yards allowed per game. Mullins slides in motion on 3rd down and 4. Keep it on the ground to Page. He's in trouble. Tries to get to the edge, and Cinco won't allow him to do it. Mathis Meyer slashes in to drop Page for a loss of 3.
Great pursuit once again by the Cougar defense. This defense is flying to the football, getting to the outside, not letting Page turn the corner. They just kept coming, forced them out of bounds here on the near side. Katy will be forced to punt.
Michael Vasquez has Katy going into this stiff breeze in the first quarter. They're going to play the field position game. Nobody back deep for the Cougars to receive. Vasquez averaging 39 yards a kick this season. This one held up. Bounces at the 10, bounces towards the end zone, and it went through the legs.
Oh, my.
I think that's DC Blades, number 29, with the Olay at the goal line. And the Cougars will begin on the 20. It's a 12-yard net punt for Vasquez. And Cinco Ranch avoid having to start out of the shadow of their own end zone as they come out. This is the 4th best offense in District 19-6A. 377.4 yards per game. Russell Morrison, senior quarterback, 2nd in the district in passing, 1,517 yards, 11 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, completing 60% of his passes for offensive coordinator Quentin White. He begins with a pass left through the hands of Greg Williams.
Well, Mike, let's go back to that punt just for a moment. That could be a huge turning point in this ball game. If Blades downs that football at the 1-yard line, it puts Cinco with their backs to the goal line. Unfortunately for Katy, the ball just squirts through his legs, goes into the end zone. That's a 19-yard difference in field position for the Cougars.
Austin Fraley is the starting running back, but it now looks like Devion Johnson We lined up to the left of Morrison out of the shotgun. Green, Williams, Fuentes, and Rao the receivers. And on the zone read, Morrison is stuffed. Hunter Stinson slices in to make the tackle in the backfield, a loss of 2.
Great job by Stinson, just shooting the gap. Mix up on the offensive line, allowed him to corral the quarterback. And now Cinco Ranch facing a 3rd and long here early in the first period.
Connor Walsh is the center. Eshawn Risen, Blake Bronstein, the 2 guards. The tackles are Julius Sanders and Tyler Worrell. Cinco Ranch with the win to their back here on 3rd down and 13 from their own 17. 7:20 to play, first quarter, no score. Pressure comes already. Morrison eludes, and he's got an open field to the right, a first down and more as he gallops out of bounds at the 40-yard line. 23 yards on the 3rd down run, and Morrison picks up a Cougar first down.
Well, great job by Morrison that time. He saw the outside blitz coming from the left, stepped up in the pocket, saw a lot of green grass over here on the near side, just took off to a sprint of 23 yards and a first down. Big play by Morrison and the Cougar offense.
Morrison accounted for all 5 Cougar touchdowns last week, 3 in the air, 2 rushing against Straight Jesuit, first down and 10. On the ground, for the first time, Devion Johnson runs into a wall of Tigers. Hunter Stinson leading the way, and this is a Tiger defense that is first in the district, allowing opponents a very stingy 138.6 yards per game. Bethley, Woodring, Mattis up front, Stewart, Boyd, Randall, Stinson in the linebacking core. The cornerbacks are DC and JR Blades. In the secondary, the safeties, Colin Wilder, a 4-year starter, and Travis Willock, who is committed to Northwestern.
Devion Johnson on the season, 723 yards, averaging 7 yards a carry, 7 touchdowns. He's going to be huge today. He needs to have a big afternoon to help out this Cinco Ranch offense. It looks like they're going to have to spend a timeout here on 2nd down.
Mark Miller signals a timeout for Cinco Ranch. 6:23 left to play first quarter, no score.
Come enjoy the heart of Katy, Texas, one of the most delightful cities in the Lone Star State. The best part? It's a short drive from Houston and minutes from the Energy Corridor. With places to stay and places to play, anything you'd like to eat, and an old town charm that can't be beat. Activities and fun for the entire family. Enjoy the best of both worlds in the City of Champions, Katy, Texas. For more information, go to cityofkaty.com.
Fans, make sure to log on to TexanLive.com each and every week to vote for the Cavenders Player of the Week. Then tune in every Friday night into the Houston High School Football Wrap-Up Show presented by Texan Drive to see who Courtney Madden showcases as the Cavenders Player of the Week on Fox Sports Southwest. After the timeout, no score, 2nd down and 9 for Cinco Ranch. Morrison out of the shotgun, throws it deep, and Fuentes has it go off his fingertips in lockstep coverage. DC Blades, senior in the Tigers secondary.
Fuentes had his hands on that one. Good throw, right on the money downfield, just off the outstretched hands of Fuentes. The junior could not come down with it. Another big 3rd down for Cinco Ranch.
They converted on 3rd down and 13 earlier in this series with a 23-yard run by Russell Morrison. 3rd down, they'll call it 10 from the Cougar 40.5-yard line. 4 receivers deployed. Morrison out of the shotgun. From the blind side, he avoids Mattis, and then he takes it to the right side. Tries to make a move. He's got another first down as he breaks contain and is into Tiger territory at the 46-yard line, picking up 14.
Morrison showing his wheels and his escapability. He was being chased down by Michael Mattis, just ducked inside of him, and once again broke free to the right side, runs out of bounds on the Katy sideline, but another first down for Cinco Ranch as they move into Katy territory at the 46.
Tiger fans haven't seen this type of quarterback since the Woodlands game with Eric Schmid breaking contain. The Tigers won that game back in week 3, 14-7. This is 1st down and 10. And on the zone read, Mattis almost blows up Morrison in the backfield. He slowed him up enough so Corey Beffley could drop him for a loss of 3 back to the 49.
Well, as you mentioned, Morrison, very good dual threat quarterback. He's 10th in district in rushing as the QB. 623 yards on the ground, averages 5 yards a carry. He's been into the end zone as a rusher 12 times this season.
Beffley had 5 tackles against Tompkins last week. 9 sacks on the season. That was his 10th. And it's 2nd down and 13, and we've got pre-snap penalty markers.
First flag of the ball game is going to be a false start against Cinco Ranch. So this is going to back them up an additional 5 yards. Going to turn a 2nd and 13 into a 2nd and 18. And again, they're going up against this 3-4 defense of Katy. It's only given up 18 points on the entire season.
The Cougars were penalized 7 times for 65 yards last week in their 37-13 victory over Straight Jesuit. Jordan Onanaku lines up to the bottom of your screen, trips up top, 2nd down and 18. 5 minutes to go, first period. Handoff, Devion Johnson to the edge. Collared from behind by Braden Boyd at the 48-yard line in Katy territory. That's good enough for about 5 yards, and it's 3rd down and long.
Well, we've seen Morrison convert 2 big 3rd downs on scrambles. Had a 23-yard scramble as well as a 14-yard scramble. He's going to lead at least 13 on this one, as once again it's a 3rd and long situation for Cinco. And we'll see how Katy plays this one. Will they put a spy on him? They've come with pressure the last 2 3rd downs. Let's see what they dial up here on 3rd and 13.
They'll scrimmage from the Tiger 49-yard line. Morrison to throw. Under pressure. Escapes. Left. Throws. And that one almost hauled in. A one-handed effort left side by Brandon Green. J.R. Blades coming back in coverage. He had Keegan Oddie out there as well. And the pass falls incomplete. 4th down for the Cougars.
Yeah, Blades almost playing 2 receivers that time. 2 receivers in the area. Blades just kind of played the middle, deflected the football away, and Cinco will have to punt. But a good drive moving out from their own 20 across midfield. Playing the field position game here in the first period. They have the wind to their back, so they'll try to pin Katy down deep.
Mullins and Wilder back deep to receive this punt. Comes from Davis Hastings, and Wilder lets it bounce end over end through the end zone. And a touchback. The Tigers will begin their 2nd offensive series from their own 20-yard line. Tune in to Fox Sports Southwest Friday nights from 11 to midnight for the Houston High School Football Wrap-Up Show presented by Texan Drive. Join Howard Chen, Ted Johnson, Courtney Rowland, and Courtney Madden as they take you around the city with all the week's football action. The Houston High School Football Wrap-Up Show presented by Texan Drive from 11 to midnight Friday nights on Fox Sports Southwest. Handoff on 1st down, and Page loses yardage back at the 15-yard line. This is a very opportunistic defense here in the early going by this Cougar team, Ken Moore, as Page has yet to find any holes and gash the defense for huge yardage.
Yeah, he had one 15-yard run on the first drive. Actually, that was on a scramble by Dorian, but they've had tough going here running the football. This Cougar defense has been all over Page in the backfield.
2nd down and 15. They'll try again with Page. And he is stuck. What a sure-handed tackle.
Reggie Tati coming up.
That is textbook.
Coming up from his defensive backfield position. Shoulders and helmet right into the gut of Page as he drops him for a short gain. And Katy once again facing a 3rd and long.
3 minutes to go, first quarter, no score. District 19 6A championship game. Mullins and Angulo line up to the left side of the offensive line. Mullins in a slot. 2 receivers to the right. Shotgun Doron on 3rd and long. Over the middle, underneath, it's Mullins. Mullins is going to be tackled short of the first down by Jacob Smith at the 29-yard line. 9 yards on the pass play, but 2 yards short of the yards necessary for a first down.
Good play that time by the Cougar defense. They came with a 5-man rush, dropped 6 in coverage. They allowed the underneath route to Mullins, but he couldn't get enough for the first down as the defense collapsed on him at the 28-yard line, and Katy will be forced to punt once again into this strong breeze.
Mathis Meyer back deep to receive the kick from Vasquez. He's 6th in the district, averaging 10.3 yards a return. This one held up by the wind, and Mathis Meyer made the catch. He said he signaled for a fair catch, and then he got tackled downfield.
He was running with the football, and you can't run with the football and expect not to get hit.
It's a 26-yard punt that was held up by the stiff breeze.
Jonathan Letter laid the wood to him right at midfield, or just before midfield.
Cinco Ranch playing with the wind to their back in this first quarter, 2:03 remaining. And they've got excellent starting field position from their own 48-yard line, as they have so far won the field position battle now as it starts to lean to Don Clayton's team.
Well, this is a key drive here. They have 2 minutes left with the win at their back, so they want to try to get on the scoreboard before the field position flips to Katy in the second period.
Don Clayton said this week, in the 27 years I've coached with Katy High School and against them, this is the best defensive team they've ever had. They don't have a weak spot.
Well, they don't. This Cougar defense has been fantastic all season long. The Katy defense obviously gets most of the accolades out here in 19-6A, but this Cougar defense, as we mentioned, only giving up 14 points per ball game on the season. They've only given they points in district play. They have been tremendous so far here in the first period this afternoon.
The official had a conference at the 48-yard line. Now referee Mark Miller over on the far side chatting with Don Clayton.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Coach Clayton is upset about. He may still be complaining about what he perceived to be a fair catch by his returner. The wind knocked the football down, so he had to run up to catch the punt. His momentum kept him going, and the Katy defender tackled him.
Good shot of the Cinco Ranch side of Rhodes Stadium. Cougars will scrimmage from their own 48-yard line, 1st down and 10 with a spread formation. Stinson comes in on a blitz, pass right, complete. That's Corey Rowell, the tight end, the team's leading receiver. Raymond Randall, DC Blades there. Corey Rowell had a 46-yard touchdown reception. Check that. That was Brant Keithy on the receiving end of that pass. He had a team-high 5 catches last week against Straight Jesuit, 73 yards and 2 touchdowns, a 4-yard reception, first completion for Morrison today.
Cinco Ranch, they've been successful on these 3rd and long so far this afternoon, but they want to shorten that down and distance on 2nd and 3rd down to make it more manageable for Morrison to work with.
2nd down and 6. Morrison over the middle, too tall. And getting hit for his troubles was Keithy. Colin Wilder gliding in coverage, and it's 3rd down.
Yeah, Morrison off target once again on that pass. On the season, he's completing 60% of his passes, 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, over 1,500 yards through the air. And now he's facing another 3rd down. This one's more manageable, though, 3rd and 6 from the Katy 48.
Keithy, the only Cougar so far with a completed pass from Morrison. Keithy, a sophomore, team leader in receiving touchdowns with 5. Bradshaw, Rowell to the top of your screen. Short peel to the right. Total of 4 receivers in the lineup on 3rd down and 6. Morrison. Pocket collapses. He eludes pressure. Takes it to the outside, and he's tackled by Giovanni Stewart, outside linebacker at the Katy 45-yard line. Stewart's 49th tackle of the season. He had the Tigers' only sack against Tompkins last week. Has offers at the next level from Air Force, Army, McNeese State, UTSA, and UTEP.
I'm not sure how Morrison got out of that. Katy came with the blitz. Gavin Spangler, the linebacker, had him dead to right, and Morrison just ducked under him, nearly picked up another 1st down scramble, but Katy was able to corral him at the 45.
Hastings with another punt. Wilder calls for a fair catch, then lets it bounce, and it bounces into the end zone. Another 26-yard punt. And the Tigers will take over with 33 seconds left in quarter number 1. This was a game last year that saw this series' only shutout. The Tigers won it 51-0. Doron threw 3 touchdown passes. Dylan Vasquez had a touchdown catch. Grant Jackman with a touchdown catch. Morrison in the game only threw for 31 yards. He was sacked 4 times. Tigers begin on their own 20. Doron on the play action. Throws underneath in the flat, complete. Kyle Williams. Pulled down from behind by Austin Simmons. Good for about 8 yards to the 28-yard line.
A good first down play that time by the Tigers, able to pick up some nice positive yardage. A little rollout here to the near side. Good catch in the boundary by Williams. Picks up 8 yards. It'll be second and a deuce.
Williams' 4th catch of the season, has a touchdown catch this year. And that's going to do it for the first quarter, unless the clock was running inadvertently. Nope. First quarter has come to an end. No score after 1. District 19 6A championship from Rhodes Stadium here on Texan Live.
Register online at CESperformance.com for your sports performance program. CESperformance.com has multi-month memberships and team training. CESperformance.com has baseline performance testing included with every athletic development program. Schedule your athletic evaluation at CESperformance.com where there's no cost or commitment. Be prolific at CESperformance.com.
Back at Rhodes Stadium, Ken Moore, your early first quarter thoughts and assessment from both teams.
Well, very well played by both ball clubs defensively, especially Cinco Ranch. They had an excellent first period. Both ball clubs only picked up 2 first downs on their first 2 drives of the game. Very evenly played first period. Now the advantage switches to Katy as they now have the win in the second period. The only negative for Cinco Ranch, they were not able to score in that first quarter.
Handoff. Kadarius Page finds some running room, middle of the hash marks to the 35 as he gains 7 yards. Jesse Umari with the tackle.
Now we'll see if Katy starts to open up the offense a little bit more with the win at their back. Give Dorian a chance to sling the football around just a little bit.
29th tackle on the season for number 91, who had a sack against Straight Jesuit. The Cougar defense sacked Straight Jesuit quarterback Zach Zubia last week 4 times. So far, they haven't been able to bring Doron down. Doron has completed 4 straight passes. Misdirection. Pitch to the right side. Page is ripped down from behind by Gustavo Torres in the backfield early. 34th tackle for the senior defensive tackle, a loss of 2.
That was an excellent play by Gustavo Torres, the big defensive lineman, chasing down the tailback, running down the line of scrimmage. That's the extra effort you want to see from a guy like Torres, the big senior defensive lineman.
Cinco Ranch defense is second in the district, allowing opponents 268.3 yards per game. The defensive coordinator is Chad Simmons. Shotgun, Doron. Pump fakes, throws. That is tipped and then gobbled in. Nope. Was it jarred loose? It was. Borowski bobbled it, almost had it, and then took a lick. Cole Rice was there.
Well, this has all the elements of a big-time rivalry, big-time district championship game. A lot of hard hits being laid out here early on in this one. Cinco Ranch able to disrupt that pass play with a big hit in the secondary, and Katy once again facing a 3rd and long from their own 33.
Tigers in the first quarter, 1 for 3 on 3rd downs. 3rd down and long, screen play, complete. Kadarius Page tries to angle back towards the middle of the field. He is stopped short of the first down by about 7 yards. Zach Mersman in defensively for the Cougars. 5 yards on the hookup, and the Tigers forced to kick it again.
Well, Katy trying to disrupt the Cinco Ranch pass rush with a screen pass that time. They had it set up well. It looked like Page would have an opportunity to pick up the necessary yardage, but a great open field tackle by Mersman stops him in his path. Another punt for the Tigers.
Dylan Vasquez's 3rd, high spiraling kick. Mathis Meyer under it,
Uh-oh.
and he muffed it. And the Cougars, with Jacob Smith sliding, are able to keep possession. They're going to be hemmed back just outside of their 10-yard line, going against the wind with 9:56 remaining.
Well, those are the type of mistakes we talked about in the pregame. Special teams trying to catch the football in this wind could be harrowing for the return man and nearly a costly mistake by Cinco Ranch.
Punt traveled 50 yards. Morrison and the Cougars back to work. They'll scrimmage from their own 12-yard line.
Now we'll see what they can do going into the breeze.
Begin on the ground. Devion Johnson tries to take it to the outside and turn the corner. He's forced out of bounds. They're going to call it the 13-yard line, so only 1 yard picked up. They may give him to the 14 for 2. 3 rushes early for Johnson, 8 yards. 723 yards coming in, carried for a team-high 74 yards last week against Strake, 7th in the district in total rushing.
And this is a big situation here for the Cougars as Katy has flipped the field position here so far in the second period. Cinco Ranch needs to pick up at least a couple of first downs to try to get out of this hole.
Morrison with a little shoulder fake. His pass out into the flats is through the fingertips of Greg Williams, the junior, who had 3 receptions last week for 19 yards against Strake. Was the pass a little bit too tall in that instance there, Ken, or should Williams have pulled it down?
He had an opportunity to make the catch there, but even if he pulls it down, the pass was so high, he wouldn't have had a chance to gather himself and pick up some positive yardage after the catch. So you want that pass a little bit lower if you're Morrison. He's struggling through the air here in the first half. Only 1 completion for 4 yards.
9:47 left in the second quarter. This is a 3rd down and 8 for the Cougars. Morrison forced to scramble, launch it deep. Rao makes the catch. Beat the coverage of DC Blades to the 49-yard line, a 35-yard hookup on 3rd down.
Well, you see Morrison once again escaping the pressure to the right, had backside pressure, throws it up for his big tight end Rao, comes up with the big catch near midfield, another 3rd down conversion for the Cougars.
Rao had a 46-yard catch and run for a touchdown last week, 66 yards against Straight Jesuit and SMU Pledge. Leads team in the receiving yards category, came in over 400 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns, and that's going to bump up his yards per catch average, which came in at 18.2 on that 35-yarder. And now it's Johnson to the outside, down to the Katy 43-yard line in Tiger territory, a gain of 8 on the run.
At that time, the Tigers came with a corner blitz, expecting a pass play, and Cinco Ranch ran it right up inside of the corner blitz, and the tailback Johnson able to turn the corner, pick up a nice gain, 2nd down and short.
Trips receivers to the left. Keep it on the ground. Morrison will hand it off to Johnson. Johnson down to the 38-yard line. Rumbling for 5 yards and another Cougar first down. That is their 4th.
And you have to like the mix that you see from Cinco Ranch. As again, they have a very balanced attack. They have about a 50-50 split on the season, rushing yards compared to passing yards, and they're doing a great job here in the opening half against this great Katy defense.
On first down, Morrison looked to bobble the snap a little bit, and Johnson is tackled out in the open field by Hunter Stinson. We'll give him a half a yard on the run.
And it looked like Morrison didn't know if he wanted to give it or pull it that time, and that threw the timing off in the backfield, allowed Katy to come up and make the big hit, 2nd down and 9.
Cinco Ranch's offense 4th in the district, 377.4 yards per game. On the ground, they're averaging 184 yards. Through the air, 193.4 yards per game. 2nd down and 9. On the ground, Austin Fraley squirts free and down to the 33-yard line. First carry for the superintendent of Katy ISD, gain of 5 yards. And it's going to be 3rd down and 4 upcoming for Cinco Ranch, who are 3 for 5 on 3rd downs. Good percentage here in the first half against this vaunted Tiger defense.
Well, this Katy defense, they aren't too shabby either in the turnover category. They forced 17 on the season. They want to come up with a big play here on 3rd down at the 33. This may be 2-down territory for Cinco Ranch because they're right in that no man's land near the 30-yard line.
And they may have just gotten a free 1st down. Tiger defense were trying to jump the snap and time it just right. And they may have given Cinco Ranch, due to the penalty yardage, an automatic 1st down here. Or it's still going to be, if it's still 3rd down, it's going to be 3rd and inches.
It is enough for the 1st down as the officials move the chains. So Cinco Ranch nearing the red zone now, 1st down at the Katy 28.
Clock moving as we approach 7.5 to play until halftime. On the ground, Fraley. Yards hard to come by on that run. Short of the 25-yard line. Fraley's numbers coming in, 49 carries, 145 yards, 1 touchdown. Rushed the ball for 13 yards on 5 carries last week. Devion Johnson, who primary ball carrier, had some issues with fumbles recent times. Fraley listed as the starting running back for Cinco Ranch over the course of the last 2 weeks. 2nd down and 7. Morrison decides he's just going to run it. And he is geometrically angled out of bounds by the combination of Gavin Spangler and looks like that was Giovanni Stewart, maybe Hunter Stinson. It's Hunter Stinson, number 6.
And once again, another 3rd down opportunity coming up for Cinco Ranch. Very successful so far in this ball game. Now the Katy crowd, who's been relatively quiet here in the first half, rise to their feet here on the big 3rd down, kind of urge on the big red.
3rd down and 4. 4 receivers deployed. Back on the ground, this time it is Johnson. Tries to keep his feet churning. He is stopped short of the 1st down as he's in the red zone, but tackled at the 19-yard line. Gain of 3 when the Cougars needed 4. Now a decision here.
Yeah, decision time for Coach Clayton. Again, going into the win, if they try to field goal, it would be about 36 to 37 yards, but they're going to bring in their jumbo formation as Morrison goes over to the sideline to get the play call from Coach Clayton, goes back into the huddle. First 4th down opportunity of the night inside the red zone at the 19.
They've installed defensive end Blake Keithy on the offensive line. Shotgun 3 in the backfield. It is Johnson on the run. The officials come in. It does not look like he got it from this location. It's a turnover on downs. The Tiger defense hold, and we still remain scoreless with 5:57 left in the 2nd quarter.
Well, a big effort that time by the number 1 ranked defense in the area. The Katy Tigers stand tall as Cinco Ranch went with the full house backfield, and they could not power it through this tough Katy front 7. And the Tigers hold. They'll take over 1st down at their own 19. Still scoreless here in the 1st period, 5:57 to go.
Here's a pitch play to the freshman DeAndre Glass. He gets no help from his offensive line, Blake Keithy, who was just on that last offensive play in as a blocking lineman for Cinco Ranch. Blast Glass for a loss of 4. DeAndre Glass, a freshman, called up due to the injury to Kyle Porter and some injuries and some ineligibilities because of some transfers on the sub-varsity. Carried the ball 11 times for 147 yards last week and rushed for a Katy freshman record of 4 touchdowns, beating the previous record held by Rodney Anderson, who scored 3 in a game as a freshman. Screen pass to the far side, and Tony Mullins has nowhere to go. Austin Simmons right there alongside Reggie Toddy and Jacob Smith. No gain.
They tried to set up the little bubble pass to Mullins, who was lined up in the slot to the top side of the play formation. But again, this Cinco Ranch defense rallying to the football forces them out of bounds. 3rd down 15, or 3rd and 14 to be generous for Katy.
A lineup, Angulo to the left, Mullins in a slot right. Borowski, bottom of your screen on 3rd down and 14. Doron over the middle for Mullins. It's overthrown. Mathis Meyer lockstep coverage against the senior receiver. And a 3 and out for the Tiger offense.
Pressure once again by Gustavo Torres. The big senior defensive lineman got some help that time from Blake Keithy as well, the sophomore. So this defensive front for Cinco Ranch really putting the heat on Dorion on that 3rd and long.
Vasquez stands just inside of his goal line. Mathis Meyer and Simmons back deep for the Cougars. Vasquez unleashes a beauty, bounces inside the 40. Mathis Meyer collars it at the 22 and then pays a price downfield.
That was a terrible job that time by Mathis Meyer. He's got to come up and make a fair catch. He lost about 20 yards in field position by allowing that football to bounce near the 40, and it rolls all the way back to the 20-yard line.
63 yards on the punt by Vasquez. Jonathan Letter with the tackle downfield. And the Cougars back to work on offense. They'll scrimmage from their own 20 with 4:58 remaining in the second quarter. No score in this 19-6A championship game. Battle of undefeateds. Pair of teams ranked in the top 25. Katy number 2, Cinco Ranch number 24. Max Prep's game of the week nationally. Quick pass completed to Corey Rao, but he is stopped for a couple of yards on a loss. Katy had that one well scouted.
Yeah, they tried a little flare pass. Neither one of these teams have been successful with the little quick screen passes. The defense is just too fast to the football.
2nd down and 12, 4.5 to play now.
See that offensive line of Cinco Ranch. They've done a decent job this afternoon opening up some holes for the tailback and protecting Morrison on the pass plays.
Off the zone read, Morrison tackled at the 20-yard line. Slashing in, making his 56th tackle, junior Raymond Randall, inside linebacker for defensive coordinator Matt McDaniel. 3rd down and 10, they get the 2 yards back. Morrison 7 rushes when calling his own number. He has run for 42 yards here in the first half. This is 3rd down number 8. The Cougars are 4 for 7 on 3rd downs.
Jordan Onaku and Kobe Bradshaw check in at wideout as they'll go 4 wide on this big 3rd down.
Morrison under pressure immediately, takes it to the left. Tripped up on the play at the 29-yard line. Good sure-handed tackle by Hunter Stinson. Short of the first down by a couple of yards at the 28. A gain of 8 for Morrison.
Good closing speed that time, coming up to make the hit. As you mentioned, it was Stinson. It looked like Morrison would have enough for the first down, but Stinson closed the gap and able to make the tackle 1 yard short. So it'll be 4th down and 1 for Cinco.
Timeout, Katy. Back in a moment.
West Point Buick GMC has Black Friday pricing now. Let the savings begin. For a limited time, get $8,000 savings off MSRP on 2015 GMC Yukons. Even 2015 GMC Sierra 1500s for just $25,900. Huge savings and selection only at West Point Buick GMC. Easy to get to on the Katy Freeway. Exit Parker Cypress both ways. We look forward to seeing you soon.
West Point Buick GMC. A better place to buy.
Don't forget, coming up tonight at 6 p.m. on Texan Live, District 19 6A concludes with a matchup between the Tompkins Falcons and the Katy Taylor Mustangs. Coverage with Derek Jones and Greg Beatty at 6 p.m. right here on Texan Live. End-over-end kick from Hastings. And Colin Wilder gobbles it in at the 41-yard line. 30-yard punt for Davis Hastings. We remain scoreless as we inch closer to halftime. 3:20 left in the second quarter. District 19 6A championship hanging in the balance. The Cougars have only won it once back in 2008. The Tigers too many to count.
Well, Katy now with their best field position of the afternoon. They started out 1st and 10 at their own 42. Once again, they have the win at their back for the final 3:20 of the period.
On first down, Doron under pressure, and down he goes for the first time behind the line of scrimmage. Colin Copoise leading the way. He had a pair of sacks against Straight Jesuit last week. A loss of 5 as Doron eats it for the first time behind the line of scrimmage.
Great pressure that time. Dorian rolling out to the left, trying to buy himself some time. Still not enough for this quick Cougar defense as they gobble him up in the backfield for a 5-yard sack.
Second down, 15 to go. Glass, the deep man out of the eye. The quick to Mullins to the outside. Got by Mathis Meyer, and he gets pulled down from behind by Mathis Meyer at the Cougar 48-yard line. That's going to be, well, they're going to call him short of the first down, out of bounds at the 49. 14 yards, it's 3rd and 1.
Well, Mullins at that time able to use his individual effort and quickness. Again, that same little screen pass. This time he's able to bounce it outside, use his speed to pick up 14 yards, and now it'll be 3rd and 1 for Katy.
Mullins, 4 receptions, 27 yards in the first half. Under center, Doron on 3rd and a yard. Pitch to the freshman Glass. Full head of steam. He's got a first down, and he rumbles, spinning off tackles, remains on his feet, and he's finally tackled down at the 34-yard line. 15 yards. What a run by the freshman DeAndre Glass.
Glass running over the left side. Had a nice block that time by the outside tackle. And able, again, individual effort that time back-to-back by Mullins. And then that time by Glass to pick up the first down. Katy now moving into Cinco Ranch territory inside the 35.
Glass remains in the lineup as the lone setback. Williams in as a wing right. Again on the quick, it's Mullins, but that's a lateral, and then he fires complete to a wide open Williams, reaching into the bag of tricks. The Katy Tigers score the game's first touchdown. 34 yards on the play.
Well, just a quick screen pass to Mullins, but he was behind the line of scrimmage. All the Cougars came up to make the tackle, and he found Williams over the top all alone as Coach Joseph finally figured out how to beat this Cougar defense with the trick play and the touchdown.
The extra point is good from Chris Perez. 1:53 until halftime. 7-0 Katy in this District 19 6A championship game on Texan Live. Cane Island drive summary, 34-yard touchdown pass, Tony Mullins to Kyle Williams. 4 plays spanning 58 yards, 1:27 the time of the possession. Perez adds the extra point, 7-0 to the Tigers in this 19 6A championship game with 1:53 left until halftime.
Well, leave it to Coach Joseph to pull off the trick play at the most opportune moment. And they set it up throughout this first half with the quick screen passes to Mullen. The Cougar defense reacting. That time, it bit them in the butt as they got hit over the top by Williams for 6.
Cougars will bring it out. Greg Williams spins to the 20-yard line, then gets knocked back, then speeds forward to the 23. 146, and with the wind against them, the Cougars have to be smart here. They'll start this drive on their own 23-yard line. They've had success moving the football, but then things start to bottle up, and Katy come up big, especially on that last offensive series, Kenmore, when the Tigers stopped them on 4th and a yard.
Yeah, absolutely. Cinco Ranch now with 2 timeouts. So we'll see how Coach Clayton plays it. Comes out with 4 receivers. Johnson in the backfield.
1:46 before halftime. Morrison throws. Oh, what a dart to Williams. One-handed tackle. Throws him back towards the line of scrimmage. That was Colin Wilder. Forward progress stopped at the 31. That's an 8-yard reception. First catch of the day for Greg Williams. And the Cougars,
not in a hurry at this point.
Which was odd because they employed a hurry-up offense against Straight Jesuit last week. Maybe playing a little bit conservative considering the opponent today. 2nd down and 2. Morrison is sacked by Mattis. Back at the 21-yard line.
Well, that may end.
And now the Tigers will call timeout to preserve clock. That is their 2nd.
Yeah, it was about to end. That may end whatever aggressiveness Coach Don Clayton had planned for this drive. But now Katy, they still have 1 timeout remaining. So if they can come up with a 3rd down stop, they can get the football back with good field position, as Cinco Ranch would once again have to punt into the win.
The Houston High School playoffs begin next week, and Texan Live will be your home for the postseason after agreeing to a partnership with the UIL and Fox Sports Southwest. So get your tickets to the state championships held this year at NRG Stadium here in Houston by following the UIL link on TexanLive.com. Then follow your team on the road to the state championships at the home for Houston High School sports, TexanLive.com. Coming up in about 61 seconds is the West Point Buick GMC halftime show. Performances by both schools' marching bands, plus we'll recap the first half. It's all coming your way next on the West Point Buick GMC halftime show. 3rd down and 10. Mattis' 4th sack this season. He was on the varsity last year as a freshman. Morrison just tries to run, and he is going to be thrown down again. Braden Boyd, who, in talking with Gary Joseph back before this Week 1 game against Kingwood, said that Boyd was still a question mark. He didn't know if he was going to be in the starting lineup all that long, but he has been in the starting lineup every week. He has gotten better. Inside linebacker for the Tiger defense, and he stops Morrison, sacks him for 4 yards, and it is 4th down, and the Tigers call their final timeout.
Well, that was a design quarterback draw, and Katy was ready for that one. They've been most successful when Morrison has just improvised on his own on design pass plays. That time it backfired on the design quarterback draw. Now Cinco Ranch will have to punt it away from their own 20-yard line, and Katy's going to have pretty decent field position, or at least they should, barring something unfortunate here on special teams.
The difference maker so far on the scoreboard, a 34-yard touchdown pass from Tony Mullins to Kyle Williams on Katy's last offensive possession. Spanning 34 yards. It is a 7-0 lead for the Tigers. Inside the final minute, Davis Hastings out for punt number 4. Full scale punt block and punt rush coming, and
that's only a 19-yard punt.
To the 40-yard line.
It'll die just inside, as you mentioned, the 40. They're going to mark it at the 39. And he barely got that one away. So now Katy really set up in prime field position. 46 seconds to go. No timeouts. But this Tiger offense, as well schooled as they are, they can operate very well with no timeouts.
We'll see what the defense has in store for the Tiger offense. Don Clayton said this week, we're going to have to keep the score low. Our defense will definitely have to come out there and play. We'd love the game to come down to a field goal. Doron on 1st down throws far side, and that's hauled in by J.C. Angulo before Andrew Ugetta collars him after a 5-yard hookup.
You want to at least pick up 10 yards because that would allow the clock to stop Clock continuing to run now, under 30 seconds as he was tackled inbounds.
Clock down to inside 25 seconds. Doron takes the snap. On the design rollout, throws on the run, and it's sliding catch by Angulo at the 25-yard line. 9 yards on the play and a first down.
Too much cushion given that time by Austin Simmons, the defensive back. You have to know score and territory. And that time he gave the receiver too much cushion, able to pick up the first down.
Spiking the football, the senior Garrett Doron, who took over for Kylie Huddleston, who was the quarterback the last time the Katy Tigers won a state championship back in 2012. Took over for Huddleston in 2013 in the last game of the regular season against the Memorial Mustangs. He has led the Tigers to 2 consecutive state championship game appearances, but come from behind defeats at the hands of the Cedar Hill Longhorns. 12 seconds to go, and Chris Perez is out for a 42-yard field goal attempt on second down. Hayden Baker will hold. Jonathan Letter to snap it. Kick on the way. And it is good from 42 yards out to extend the Tiger lead to 10-0.
I was a little surprised they went for it with 12 seconds remaining. You thought they may want to take one more shot, but with no timeouts, they decided to go with Chris Perez. He nails it through from 42, and Katy looks like they'll go into the half with a 10-zip lead.
.42-yard field goal by Chris Perez. Cane Island's scoring summary has given the Tigers a 10-0 lead.
4 plays.
Didn't have to go very far. They started on the Cinco 39.
14-yard drive. And he connects on a 42-yard field goal.
38 seconds taken off the clock, so right now just really a kickoff, and teams will head to the locker room. And Les Perez, who does have the wind to his back, kicks out of the back of the end zone, which he is known to do. His long field goal of the season spanned 51 yards. That came last week, or a couple of weeks ago. He was 6 for 6 last week, touchdowns against Tompkins. Alex Dupre was also 6 for 6 in that game. It's a squib kick. Goes through the hands of Rao, and he will bounce on it at the 11 with 3 seconds to go. Don't forget the West Point Buick GMC halftime show is forthcoming with performances from each school's marching band. Ken and I will be back towards the start of the third quarter to recap the first half of play, get you ready for the second half. So stay tuned for the West Point Buick GMC halftime show.
A disappointing end to what was a very productive first half for Cinco Ranch as they give up 10 points in the final 3.5 minutes. Get burned on the trick play from Mullins to Kyle Williams on the 34-yard touchdown. And then after the short 19-yard punt on their last possession, Chris Perez able to connect on a 42-yard field goal. And 1 play left for the Cougs.
Snap, Morrison takes a knee. Actually be a loss of 4 officially. Halftime at Rhodes Stadium. In the District 19 6A championship game, the Katy Tigers possess a 10-0 lead over the Cinco Ranch Cougars. Now stay tuned for the West Point Buick GMC halftime show.
West Point Buick GMC has Black Friday pricing now. Let the savings begin. For a limited time, get $8,000 savings off MSRP on 2015 GMC Yukons. Even 2015 GMC Sierra 1500s for just $25,900. Huge savings and selection only at West Point Buick GMC. Easy to get to on the Katy Freeway. Exit Parker Cypress both ways. We look forward to seeing you soon.
West Point Buick GMC, a better place to buy.
Football fans of all ages, guests today. Welch, Senior Lieutenant Carmen Edlund, Lieutenant Colonel Canada Puerto, and our Colonel Anna Arneson. The stars are in the selection of Mrs. Amanda Cochran. Today, the stars are performing their traditional guys and ties dance with some of the best dancers in town. Please enjoy and cheer on the stars and their guys as they dance to Hey Baby. Thank you guys for joining us in halftime special. At this time, we would like to recognize our senior Cougar stars. Starting with Julia Elder, who is supported by James and Stacy Elder. Bryant and Carolyn Moore. Taylor Watson is being escorted by James and Laura Watson. Grace Rowell is being escorted by Richard and Beth Rowell. Abby Burke is being escorted by David and Donna Burke. Hannah DeFranco is being escorted by Dawn and Sam DeFranco. Hannah Arneson is being escorted by David and Heidi Arneson. And Clayton is being escorted by Tony Leslie. Madeline Wagner is being escorted by David and Sherry Wagner. Hannah Lanford is being escorted by Donna and John. Serena Setna is being escorted by Kelly and Fiona Setna. Carolyn Payne is being escorted by James and Gigi Payne. Kylie Wilkinson is being escorted by Ken and Teresa Wilkinson. Angie Salguera is being escorted by Enrique and Carolina Salguera. And Debbie Woody is being escorted by Stars. Thank you for your continued commitment to the Cougar Stars dance team, and we look forward to the rest of the year as leaders on the team. Once a Cougar Star, always a Cougar Star.
Combined Cougars and Tiger marching bands will perform a special salute to all veterans by performing salutes to the armed forces. Please stand and be recognized as you hear your service anthem being played.
Huh? I thought it was Wisconsin.
United States Army. United States Navy. United States Coast Guard. God bless America.
Cougars, President Diane Wilson, Vice President Maria Taylor, Treasurer Avery Cinco, Spirit Chairman Steve Hernandez, Spirit Chair Henry Garcia, and Manager Jenna Bailey, Spirit Youth Legion Miss Bolton, and the Legion Miss Curtis. Brigade continues with the celebrations of our veterans as the military continues to Beautiful America.
As the Katy Marching Band wraps up its performance, we welcome you to the West Point Buick GMC halftime show. Michael Silvers here in the broadcast booth. Pleased to be joined by the co-host of the Houston High School Football Wrap-Up Show, seen weekly, Friday nights 11 to 12 on Fox Sports Southwest, Ted Johnson, my guest at this time. Ted, thanks for joining me. Your thoughts on what we've seen for this District 19 6A championship game? A couple of late scores by the Katy Tigers, 10 points in the final 3 minutes and 30 seconds of the second half. Your impressions?
Yeah, it's I mean, obviously both defenses came to play, and it's just I mean, it's a clinic for as far as tackling. It's hard to get yards today for these offenses, you know. And then the touchdown that Katy did get, it was, you know, the guy was wide open, so it's going to be hard to come by points here. Here's the deal: we know how it is with Katy's defense, as good as it is. You know, a 10-0 lead at halftime might as well be a 30-point lead because of how good they are and how stifling that defense is. So Katy right now you just kind of sit on them, milk the clock, and if you get a score, you get a score. But just both defenses have really come out to play today.
Cinco Ranch's head coach Don Clayton was quoted this week as saying he wanted to keep the score low. Their defense would have to come out to play. They definitely have to come out to play, and they would love to see the game go down to a field goal. A 10-point deficit for them probably feel like they're still in the ball game from that standpoint.
Yeah, for Cinco Ranch, who's undefeated, and they've come back in a couple of games and won. So you make a good point. It's Cinco Ranch is a different team, so you got to look through it, look at it a little bit differently. If you're that coach, you're telling those guys, look, 10 points? Are you kidding me? We can get 10 points, no problem, boys. So they need to make some adjustments. It's going to be tough because the speed. The one thing that jumps out at me, and this is my second or third high school football game I've been to in this area. One thing that jumps out at me is just the speed, and so you need to maybe you need to get a play, kind of a cheap one like Katy did, where the guy was wide open, somebody blew their coverage. So you kind of hope that there's a little bit of luck too involved for Cinco Ranch.
Cinco Ranch get the ball to start the second half on offense. What do they need to do in your estimation to set the tone and try to get back into this? I mean, they're not down by any stretch. It's not an insurmountable lead at 10-0, but what would you like to see them do to set the tone?
Well, you know what? What you got to do is establish the tempo, and you got to establish kind of what you're going to be about in the second half. So, come out here, establish some physicality, establish the tone, and set the tone. You go down there and you score. You even get 3 points. Come away with 3 points in this opening drive. It sets you up for the rest of the game, and that'll be huge for their confidence.
Joined now by Ted Johnson, co-host of the Houston High School Football Wrap-Up Show, seen weekly every Friday night, 11 to 12 on Fox Sports Southwest, with Howard Chen.
Sports Radio 610.
And he's with Sports Radio 610, part of the afternoon drive with Sean Pendergast and Rich Lord. Rich Lord used to do high school football down in El Campo.
Dude, I've heard his some of his calls, and they're legendary. I think he was set on one call like touchdown 20 times. So I was like, Rich, I heard that there was a touchdown the first 10 times, but Rich, he's a legend in that area. So it's been fun working with him. He's been there 20 years. And
we were talking off air before coming on. You said being the co-host of this wrap-up show on Friday nights, one of the toughest jobs you've ever had.
It is. It's crazy. It's so hard because there's so many high school football teams, and we go live at 11 o'clock. So a lot of, the games are over, but a lot of this stuff is trickling in, and we cover so many games we do with highlight packages, and I give it up to our staff, our production staff. It's incredible what they do. But it's, for me, I can have sensory overload. I got my producer talking to my ear. I got Howard Chin going. I got Courtney Madden. There's a lot of things coming at you, but man, we hope people enjoy it. We hope that people will tune in and watch, especially with the playoffs coming around the corner. It's a lot of fun. This is our first year doing it, and I hope we get the opportunity to do it again next year.
Well, it's certainly getting better each and every week, more in depth. The coverage is absolutely fantastic. You're doing a great job. Everybody involved is doing an awesome job. Thanks for stopping by, Ted. Enjoy the second half, and we'll continue to watch you and listen to you on 610 and on the Houston High School Football Wrap-Up Show. Seen every Friday night on Fox Sports Southwest.
Appreciate that, buddy. Thank you very much.
You got it. Ted Johnson, a Super Bowl champion as well. Forgot to mention that on the air with me at halftime, and we'll get Ken Moore back in to give us his thoughts on the first half and get you ready for the start of the third quarter as Ken Moore will slide on in. And Mr. Moore, your overall thoughts on what we saw in the first half and your keys to the second half as Katy make their way back on the field?
Well, I think the key for Cinco Ranch, they have to continue doing what they did in the first half. They showed a lot of patience on the first few drives of the half. Morrison was very patient in the pocket, able to get out and scramble, make some plays with his legs. They got a little off kilter on the last couple of plays of the half, last couple of drives. What they cannot allow themselves to do is panic now that they're down by 10 points here to begin the third period. They will get the football first, but they will be going into the win. So it's going to be very important for them to try to win the field position. Again, try to be very patient on offense and try to matriculate the football down the field and get some points here going into the fourth quarter.
Let's run down the first half statistics for the Katy Tigers. 29 yards rushing, uncharacteristic of a Katy Tiger offense. Doron is thrown for 67 yards. Mullins on the play to Kyle Williams that scored the only touchdown of the game. 101 yards of total passing yardage, 131 yards of total offensive yardage for the Tigers in the first half. 6 first downs. They were 3 for 6 on third downs, just 1 penalty for 5 yards. Time of possession, 10 minutes, 38 seconds. For the Cinco Ranch Cougars, 64 yards rushing. Morrison is thrown for 45 yards, 109 yards of total offense in the first half. The Cougars picked up 5 first downs. They were 4 for 9 on third downs. They turned the ball over once on downs, 1 penalty for a false start. As Katy have the ball teed up for the second half to get underway. The time of possession for Cinco Ranch, incidentally, in the first half, 13-22.
And as you can tell by from those statistics, Cinco Ranch kept the football most of the first half. They'll begin the second.
Keithy will take it out of the end zone after bobbling the kickoff, and he is stuffed at the 10.
Oh, there's maybe a late hit. And if Cinco can come out of this with good field position, if they get the benefit of a penalty him, it will be a big break, as the kick returner should have just taken a knee after fumbling the ball in the end zone, decided to bring it out, got crushed at the 10. Here's the call.
Late hit called on Brody Anderson, so indeed the Cinco Ranch Cougars will get the benefit of a 15-yard penalty called on Katy and will start on their own 25-yard line.
Yeah, so instead of starting at their own 10, they're going to get the benefit of starting at the 25. So they get out of a huge hole by a big break by Katy, and we'll see if Morrison can keep this offense rolling here in the third period, try to pick up some points. They were able to get yards and time of possession, but could not get on the scoreboard.
On first down, Devion Johnson stuffed at around the line of scrimmage by the interior front 3 of the Katy Tigers, and of course the back 4 in the middle of the defense helping out as well. Johnson carried for 24 yards in the first half, gains a yard. It's second down and 9. Obviously, it wasn't the original way they wanted to set the tone, but the penalty helping the Cougars with field position. They go against the wind in the third quarter. Morrison with a pump fake, throws it deep. It's being held up, and the pass incomplete. He threw it into one-on-one coverage. Pass intended for Onanaku. Colin Wilder there defensively for the Tigers, and it's third down.
Yeah, that's a case where Morrison just throwing it up, one-on-one coverage, trying to give his receiver a chance to make a play. Anaku tried to come back for the football, didn't have an opportunity to make the catch due to a great defensive play.
Onanaku searching for his 12th reception of the season. 181 yards coming in, 1 touchdown, averaging 16.5 yards per catch. It is third down and 9. Morrison throws, bobbled, and Rao can't haul it in. Took some contact from an on-rushing Keegan Oddie. J.R. Blades was there. Giovanni Stewart all in the area as Rao drops this one. Doesn't help out his quarterback, Russell Morrison. And an early 3-and-out for the Cougar offense.
Well, that's one thing they did not want coming out of halftime was a quick 3-and-out, because you're going to afford Katy decent field position as their return man, Wilder and Mullins, are set up near midfield.
Wilder second in the district in punt returns, averaging just under 24 yards a kick, 24 yards a return, and a punt that will roll and be down at the 49 in Tiger territory, a 25-yard punt against the wind by Davis Hastings.
And Hastings not having any success going into the win. His last punt right before halftime only went 19 yards, helped set up the 42-yard field goal by Chris Perez to end the half that gave Katy the 10-point lead.
Tigers will scrimmage for the first time on offense from their own 49-yard line. Halt to the action because there's a second ball on the field. That'll be disposed of over on the Cinco Ranch sideline.
Don't want to play with two.
Kadarius Page lines up as the deep man out of the I formation, and Gulo to the bottom of your screen. At the top, it's Mullins. And on the draw play, Page trying to pick his way off the tackle right side. Down inside the, well, they'll say the 47-yard line in Cinco territory, a gain of 3.
As you mentioned, this Cinco Ranch defense did a great job against the rush in the first half. Page with only 8 yards on 8 carries. He picked up 7 of those on 1 carry.
Dominic Hudson checks in as a receiver. He'll be alone to the wide side left. Stewart gets a pitch as he's in on the offense. Stewart looking, and Cinco Ranch have that one well scouted. Stewart will eventually get back to the original line of scrimmage, but it'll be 3rd down and long for the Tigers.
Katy now trying to come up with a conversion here to keep this drive alive. They want to take advantage of this great field position. They also want to take advantage of the wind at their back.
They were 50% on 3rd downs in the first half.
The rain coming down now at Rhodes Stadium as the umbrellas begin to pop up on the far side.
Dawn with a 7-step drop. Fires. Incomplete. Trying to locate Mullins. Mullins wants a flag. Mathis Meyer right there in coverage for the Cougars. And each offense a 3 and out on their opening possessions here in the second half.
Great coverage by Mathis Meyer. Fans here on the home side wanted a penalty flag, but the officials say no, so it's going to be a 3 and out.
Punt number 5 for Michael Vasquez. Came in averaging 39 yards a punt this season. And with the wind to his back, he delivers a beauty. And it will bounce into the end zone. DC Blades couldn't hold it in. A punt that travels 48 yards, but it'll be 28 yards net. Vasquez has kicked a 50 and a 63-yard punt today. This one again, 28 yards net. Back to work, the Cougar offense. Attacking the north end zone from their own 20-yard line. Trying to get back into this. A 10-point lead for the Tigers sometimes may seem and feel insurmountable, but these are 2 9-0 teams getting after it today for the district championship. Handoff, and Austin Fraley picks up 3 before he is buried by Colin Wilder.
Yeah, Fraley really ran into a Mack truck that time as he crossed the line of scrimmage. He'll pick up 3 yards, make it 2nd and 7, but he really paid for it when he got crushed.
Over 3 minutes gone by. Quarter number 3, 10-0 Katy. Wilder had an interception last week against Tompkins. He's committed to Houston, a 4-year starter in a defensive secondary for Matt McDaniel, the defensive coordinator at Katy High School. 2nd down and 7. Morrison dumps it underneath. Fraley with room to run. He has a 1st down over the 35 to the 37-yard line, a 14-yard catch and run.
Well, they set up the screen pass beautifully that time as they allowed the rush to come in on Morrison. He dumps it off in the flat to Fraley. Got 1 lead block from the offensive guard, able to pick up the 1st down across the 35 to the 37.
They'll actually call it the 38-yard line. And on 1st down, shotgun snap, handoff plowing right up the middle. Fraley stopped at the 42-yard line. A lot of traffic. Braden Boyd leading the way for the Tigers.
Katy employs a 3-4 defense, and that front 7, it's senior Layton. A lot of seniors and junior, very experienced defense. And that's part of the reason why they've only given up 18 points this entire season.
Well, we said it earlier back in the first quarter. Don Clayton, Cinco Ranch head coach, said this was the best defensive team he has ever seen at Katy High School, and that includes his time as an assistant and offensive coordinator at Katy High School. Second down and 6. Morrison will throw it deep, and that's not the best looking pass. It's a duck, and Wilder's under it to pick it off. Third interception for number 27, and he returns it into Cougar territory. Out of bounds at around the 42-yard line.
I think that pass just slipped out of the hands of Morrison. Yeah, it just slipped, and then it got caught up in the wind, and Wilder, it was like a short punt, and Wilder just picked it off, brings it back down the far sideline. Katy in business inside of Cougar territory at the 41. First turnover of the afternoon.
That is the 10th interception for the Katy defense. 5th interception thrown by Morrison this season. And the Tigers start on the Cinco Ranch 41-yard line, leading 10-0. Handoff, and DeAndre Glass has nowhere to go. Slashing in from his defensive tackles position, Jesse Umari. Loss of a yard for the freshman. Yards a little harder to come by for the freshman DeAndre Glass, who rushed for 147 yards last week and a freshman record of 4 touchdowns and an 84-0 spanking of second-year program Tompkins.
This 4-2-5 defense of Cinco Ranch has been all over the Katy rushers this afternoon.
Doron on second down. Over the middle, Mullins beats Mathis Meyer, and he is down to the 7-yard line, a 35-yard hookup.
Well, again, just a play-action pass this time by Dorian, and he had Mullins one-on-one out of the slot, running down the seam, and he went up, made the great individual effort. First and goal, Katy knocking at the door.
From the 8-yard line. Pitch play. Full head of steam. The freshman Glass takes it down to the 2.
He's following behind his fullback, Kyle Williams, to the right side. Again, that simple toss sweep, the patented Katy run. And Williams plowing through, allowing the freshman to pick up 5 yards. It'll be second and goal.
I formation in the backfield, second down and goal from the 2. Pitch play again. Glass walks in for the touchdown. Capitalizing on the Morrison interception that was picked off by Colin Wilder. Tigers out in front now by 3 scores as Perez is on for the extra point.
Well, you make mistakes against the Katy Tigers, they will make you pay for it.
Extra point is good. 5:51 left in quarter number 3. 17-0 Katy. Cane Island drive summary, 2-yard touchdown run by the freshman DeAndre Glass, his 5th touchdown of the season. That caps off a 4-play, 41-yard drive, 1:29 seconds. The time of the drive, Perez knocks through the extra point, 17-0 Tigers, with 5:51 remaining in the third quarter. That, of course, capitalizing on the Colin Wilder interception on a pass that seemingly just slipped out of the hands of Cinco Ranch quarterback Russell Morrison. Katy's going to cash in more oftentimes than not.
Yeah, absolutely. They're a very advantageous football team. They take advantage of turnovers and mistakes by the opposition. That's what they live on. 2 big plays here today. The 34-yard play-action pass to set up that touchdown. And, of course, the trick play early on or later on in the second quarter from Mullins. to Kyle Williams for the touchdown. So there we have it, 17-point lead. Cinco Ranch down. Touchback, they'll take over at their own 20. They have to continue to maintain their patience. They've moved the football effectively against Katy. They just have not been able to score. They want to try to get some points on the football scoreboard before the third period ends.
Coming up later tonight, 19-6A district play concludes. Season finales for both the Tompkins Falcons and the Taylor Mustangs. Derek Jones, Greg Beatty will have the call for you tonight on Texan Live as the Cougars begin this series on their own 25-yard line after the touchback. 3 receivers in the lineup, direct run to the outside, Morrison and Katy again right there. Colin Wilder slashing in to lead the way. No gain for Morrison, it's second down.
Well, again, the design runs for Morrison have not worked nearly as well as when he's been able to just drop back on a pass play and improvise and scramble. When you try to directly run at this Katy defense, that's when you're asking for trouble.
Morrison rushed for 2 touchdowns last week against Straight Jesuit. He counted for all 3, making all 5 of the Cougar touchdowns in the game. They were down before the lightning delay that delayed things by 30 minutes last Saturday afternoon. Came back and blitzed the Crusaders. Second down, Morrison fires over the middle. That one hauled in by Cifuentes at the 41-yard line. Then it was knocked away, and the officials call for an incomplete pass.
Wow. Let's see if we'll get a replay in-house here on the big scoreboard as he had his big receiver coming across the middle. Looked like it was going to be a reception by Cifuentes, but he got hit. The ball came free. Officials mark it incomplete.
DC Blades with the hit, knocking the ball loose. And in a game like this, no matter the contact, you have to say Cifuentes should have held on.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to come down with that catch. Now, of course, as we mentioned, there is a light rain coming down, combined with these 15-mile-per-hour winds into the face of Cinco Ranch here in the third.
3rd and 9, and the play is blown dead.
Penalty marker down on the far sideline.
Totally away from the play. Thrown right at the Cinco Ranch sideline. Here's Mark Miller, our referee. Delay a game. Not the best start for Cinco Ranch on either side of the ball here in the third quarter with 4:57 left in the third.
Only their second penalty of the afternoon, but it puts them in a bad situation now. 3rd and 15. We'll see if Katy will bring the house here against Morrison.
Got to get to the 45, make it the 35. Morrison just has to run. Nobody's open, and he is tackled at the original line of scrimmage, 25-yard line, and Hunter Stinson was there on the tackle. Also, was Ryder Anderson.
You see this Katy defense has made some adjustments here in the second half. They only rushed 4 that time against Morrison. They kept the spy back in case he decided to run, which he did. Allowed him only a short gain that time on 3rd and long. Cinco Ranch will be forced to punt once again.
Mullins and Wilder are back, standing at midfield. Punt held up by the breeze. I mean, is there anything Hastings can do to kick the ball deeper against a 15-mile-an-hour wind as Mullins fields it at the 47-yard line? Just a 22-yard punt.
Well, the mistake that he's making is that he's getting the football up into the wind where it's being knocked down. You want to try to kick some low-line drives toward the sideline and see if you can pick up some additional yardage on the bounce. Right now, he's kicking it straight up into the air, and he's not getting good results.
Tigers take over on the Cougar 47. Duran lofting one right sideline. Out of the reach of Angulo. Coverage by Reggie Totti.
And a lot of times, Mike, when we analyze football games, we forget that there's 3 phases. You have your offense, your defense, and you also have your special teams. And right now, the special teams for Cinco Ranch is really hurting them in the punting game.
Fans, make sure to log on to Texan Live each and every week to vote for the Cavenders Player of the Week. Then tune in every Friday night into the Houston High School Football Wrap-Up Show, presented by Texan Drive, to see who Courtney Madden showcases as the Cavender's Player of the Week on Fox Sports Southwest. Kadarius Page picks up 5. Down to the 42. They may mark him short to the 43 or right in the middle. Give it to him at the 42.5-yard line. Another third down for the Tiger offense. Three of 7 on third downs today. And a timeout as we have a towel on the field, and Mark Miller's crew have kept the flags in their pocket. Clean game by both schools today. Play action by Doron. Fires over the middle towards the end zone for Mullins, and getting his hands on it to knock it away, Austin Simmons.
Simmons at the last moment just threw his hands up. I think the ball may have actually hit his helmet as he was hustling down to try to break up that pass play to Mullins and prevent another score. Good job that time by number 23, Austin Simmons.
Looks like Doron came off the field clutching his right arm and hand into his body, and he's being looked at by the medical personnel of Katy High School. And that's the last thing the Tigers need is another injury. Here's Vasquez delivering this punt. And this time DC Blades does not allow it to go through his legs and into the end zone. He had some help down there from Braden Boyd. Down at the 2-yard line, a 40-yard kick for Michael Vasquez.
Well, and again, the special teams for Cinco Ranch not getting back. You can make a fair catch there, take the ball at around the 10-yard line, but they allow it to bounce. Now they'll set up shop just inside their own 2.
Keeping an eye down here on Garrett Doron. Things look to be a little bit better. Maybe just a little stinger or something. He made contact with an opponent when trying to throw that football, but you hope everything is okay for number 12 as the Cougars begin with a run. Devion Johnson, not much. Colin Wilder slashes in, bringing him down after a gain of 2.
You see Katy defense has really sucked all of the momentum away from the goodwill that Cinco Ranch built up in the first half. They haven't allowed the Cougars to do anything here in the second half. A couple of 3-and-outs, actually 3 consecutive 3-and-outs.
This is a Katy defense that are holding opponents to just 86 rushing yards per game, 52.6 yards passing per game. And this is a free play. Morrison takes it off tackle left. Tackled at the 9-yard line by Stinson, but that's a free play.
Yeah, it looked like the Tigers jumped offside.
That'd be the second time they've done that today.
Only the 3rd penalty of the afternoon against Katy. 3 for 25 yards. They have the personal foul on the opening kickoff of the second half.
Winner of this game wins the district championship. Does not change anything in respect to playoff opponents next week. Cinco Ranch hosts Bel Air Saturday here at Rhodes. The night before, Katy playing West Side here at Rhodes Stadium. On the ground between the hash marks, Johnson spins off a tackle, stays on his feet, and then slides forward to the 20, up close to the 20-yard line. They're going to mark him short at the 18. Gain of 9. It's a first down for the Cougars.
And now Cinco Ranch trying to get some momentum, trying to move this football away from the shadows of their own goalposts. As we approach 2 minutes to go here in the 3rd period. Cinco Ranch trailing Katy 17-zip. Tigers looking for their 7th shutout on the season.
1st and 10. Johnson. The gang tackling in full effect for the Tigers. Johnson over the 20, stopped at the 21. 37 yards on 11 carries for the senior Devion Johnson. Inside the final 90 seconds of quarter number 3 here at a rain-soaked Rhodes Stadium. Week 11 Saturday, District 19 6A championship at stake. Trips to the bottom of your screen on 2nd down and 7. Keep it on the ground. Johnson into the secondary. Slips at the 39-yard line. 18 yards on his scamper.
The inside of this offensive line trying to open up some holes now against this Katy front. Good block that time by Blake Bronstein to open up the hole for Johnson as he's able to scamper until the Katy secondary gets it down to the 40 of Cinco Ranch, 1st and 10.
Largest run of the day for senior Devion Johnson. 55 yards now on the ground. Shotgun for Morrison, 40 seconds to go, and a 17-0 deficit. The quick, that's dropped by Katy. That's a forward pass, not a lateral. Katy doing the wise thing and didn't want to take a chance that it'd be whistled incomplete, but again, a drop pass by one of Morrison's receivers. And Katy normally sure-handed.
I wonder if Cinco Ranch is trying to set up Katy for one of those double passes that we saw the Tigers unleash in the first half. Short screen passes have been unsuccessful for each team, but Katy was able to take advantage of a over-anxious Cinco Ranch defense late in the second period for a trick play for a touchdown.
From the 40, it's 2nd down and 10. Johnson again tries to bounce it out, and he is tackled from behind by Braden Boyd, the junior. Gobbles up the senior, and it's 3rd down and 10.
A great job by Boyd coming from the backside to drag down Johnson. And we're going to have a timeout by Katy before this 3rd down play.
14 seconds to go in the 3rd, 17-0 Tigers.
At Panera, we decided a long time ago to avoid the easy road and switch to antibiotic-free chicken. That decision set a lot of things in motion. So now it's not just chickens raised this way. It's more ingredients you can trust. Which has taught us a lesson. Sometimes, what you think is the harder road turns out to be the only one worth being on. Panera Bread. Live consciously. Eat deliciously.
Tune in to the Fox Sports Southwest on Friday nights from 11 till midnight for the Houston High School Football Wrap-Up Show presented by Texan Drive. Join Howard Chen, Ted Johnson, Courtney Rowland, and Courtney Madden as they take you around the city with all of the week's football action. The Houston High School Football Wrap-Up Show presented by Texan Drive from 11 to midnight each and every Friday night on Fox Sports Southwest. Katy calling timeout, 14 seconds left in the 3rd. Trying to stop the Cougars on 3rd down and 10. Cougars continuing to go against the 15-mile-an-hour winds. Here in the 3rd quarter, direct run, Morrison. Slipped through Stinson, but didn't get much further than that. Another timeout, and again, Katy taking their timeouts to preserve the wind, keeping it to their back. You wonder if in the 4th quarter, Kenmore, whether this may come back and be something that the Tigers regret.
Well, I doubt. I like what Coach Joseph is doing right now. He's forcing, they know Cinco Ranch has had problems punting into the wind. There's only 10 seconds left here in the period. Thinking outside the box is one thing that separates Coach Joseph from some of the other high school coaches in the area. Plays like this, simple plays, making them have to punt into this wind in the final 10 seconds, and we've seen that the punter has had tremendous difficulty doing that so far. So that will give your team what you would expect to be good field position beginning the 4th quarter.
Mullins and Wilder will be deployed. Davis Hastings, punts of 29, 26, 30, 19, 25, and 22. It seems like every punt he's had to make, it's been against the wind. Here's one more. This one a little bit better. Mullins hauls it in at the 34-yard line. 25-yard kick. And the Tigers, with 4 seconds to go, will run one more play in the 3rd, and then they'll have to deal with the wind in quarter number 4. They have a 17-0 lead. 34-yard touchdown pass. Mullins to Williams. As BJ Gott, the offensive coordinator, reached into the bag of tricks. 42-yard field goal from Chris Perez, and then a 2-yard touchdown run by the freshman Deandrick Glass. Pitch to Kadarius Page on first down on the final play of the third quarter. He'll be stopped, maybe give him a yard, maybe give him just a half a yard.
Maybe a quarter yard.
3 quarters in the books, 17-0 Katy in this District 19 6A championship game over Cinco Ranch. You're watching Texan Live.
Register online at CESperformance.com for your sports performance program. CESperformance.com has multi-month memberships and team training. CESperformance.com has baseline performance testing included with every athletic development program. Schedule your athletic evaluation at CESperformance.com. There's no cost or commitment. Be prolific at CESperformance.com.
With our producer Andrew Marthin, Ken Moore, Michael Silvers with you. Start of the fourth and final quarter from Rhodes Stadium in Katy. 17-0 Tigers in this District 19 6A championship game. Number 2 Tigers, number 24 Cougars. Cougars now with the wind of their back as Doran throws against the grain. Pass is complete to Dominic Hudson at the Katy 41-yard line. That is a pass play of 5 yards as Hudson collars in his first pass from Doran today.
Yeah, Hudson came across the formation in motion from left to right. Just turned upfield, stopped in the middle of the zone defense. Dorian able to find him, makes a nice throw and catch, set up a 3rd and short.
Doran has completed passes to 6 different targets today. 3rd down and 4. The Tigers 3 of 8 on 3rd downs today. Design waggle. Doran on the run, and that's dropped by Angulo. Jacob Smith was coming in, but Angulo let that one get to his chest. Did not catch it with his hands, and the Tigers forced to punt it away.
Now Cinco Ranch with an opportunity to operate with the wind at their back here in the 4th period. As now Katy will have to punt into this stiff breeze.
Austin Simmons, the only one back for Cinco Ranch. This will be punt number 7 for Michael Vasquez. He is hit from 50 and 63 yards today. End over end kick, and that's exactly what you want to do. It's how you draw it up against the wind. Try to get that forward bounce to the 29-yard line.
35-yard punt, very effective. Low line drive towards the sideline. Got an extra 7 or 8 yards on the bounce.
17-0, and the Cougars will scrimmage from their own 30-yard line. Try to cut into this lead, and they only have 11 minutes and 6 seconds to do it. At what point do you try to aim for some big plays?
Well, you have the wind at your back now, so you can unleash your quarterback.
Hand off to the motion man, Brant Keithy. Collared by Hunter Stinson at the 35-yard line, a run of 5.
Colin Wilder came up almost a little late. A little spear in the back. Referees let it go. 5-yard pickup, 2nd down 5.
Stinson came into this game with 46 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Of course, the Tigers without Patty Fisher, who was injured in the Woodlands game. He is a Northwestern pledge. Led the defense last year with 147 tackles, had 27 tackles before the injury.
That's a huge loss for them going into the playoffs.
2nd down and 5. This time it's the play fake on the same play, essentially. This time Morrison kept it. Gains another yard before Joey Woodring, who played defensive end last year, brings down the quarterback. It's 3rd and 4.
We'll see what Coach Clayton draws up. The design runs for Morrison have been very ineffective. They've had 4 design runs in this ball game, totaling about 4 yards. He's been very effective when he's been able to improvise and scramble out of the pocket. We'll see what they draw up here on 3rd and 4.
The Cougars 0 for 3 on 3rd downs here in the second half. 4 for 12 for the game. Morrison, design keeper, Straight ahead, he'll get a first down at the 41-yard line, tackled by Bethlehem Boyd.
Well, they drew it up a little differently. That time they went with 5 receivers, no running back, so it spread out the Katy defense. They only had 6 in the box to defend against the quarterback draw. That time Morrison able to sneak inside, pick up 5 yards for the first down.
The Cougars had missed on their last 6 third downs going back to the first half before converting on their 13th third down of the game. First down and 10. Rao will line up to the left side as a wing. Williams in motion, lines up in a slot left. A bobble by Morrison, and he'll get shouldered by Bethley as he recovers the drop ball back at the 37.
And again, you see Morrison having problems with the slippery pigskin. Had an interception in the third period when the ball appeared to slip out of his hand. And there he fumbles the shotgun snap. And it's going to be a loss of 4 back to the 37-yard line. Clock continues to run under 8:40.
Excuse me. Rain continuing to pound down. You can't really see it from this vantage point, but if you look over to the north end zone to the concrete, you can definitely see the volume of the drops hitting the puddles over on the concrete.
And they're coming sideways.
Second down handoff. Galloping right up the middle, Austin Fraley past the original line of scrimmage. 1.5 yards more to the 42.5-yard line. Give Fraley 5 on the run. It's 3rd and long. They'll need to get to the 49 in Tiger territory for a new set.
Cinco Ranch in need of a big play. He needs to try to find one of his wideouts. They need to make a play for him. Brandon Green, Sebastian Cifuentes, Greg Williams. The tight end Corey Rao had a big reception early in the ball game. They need someone to make a play here on 3rd and long.
7:40 to play in the district championship for 19-6A. Morrison forced to scramble right, and he loses the football. It's going to be recovered by offensive lineman Tyler Worrell. A loss all the way back to the 35-yard line, and the punt team back out for the Cougars.
Another sack for this Katy defense. That time Morrison tried to scramble to his right over here to the near side. Got hit from behind just as he tried to release the football. It's marked as a fumble recovered by Cinco Ranch, but they'll have to punt it away with 7 minutes to go in the ball game.
This is the 3rd consecutive Saturday that these teams have played in the rain. What a kick. And Mullins drops it, scoops it up, takes it across the 20 to the 23. "49-yard punt. Difference when you have the wind to your back. And Davis Hastings is probably wondering, why couldn't I have kicked all of my punts this way?
It's a huge difference. Katy will begin at their own 24, leading by 17.
Trying to close this one out and win another district championship. Doron begins this possession with a handoff to Kadarius Page. Taken down on the outside by Dami Ilusami. Gain of 3 for Page.
And this is a Cinco Ranch defense. It's only given up 268 yards per game on the season. The big advantage for them in 2015, they forced 24 turnovers. They haven't forced any this afternoon.
In fact, they've given one away. That was the interception thrown by Morrison that Weiler had picked off. That led to points.
We talked about they were going to need their defense to force some turnovers, create some short fields for the offense.
Back on the ground again, Page then stood up, gang tackle. Give him another yard to the 28 as we roll inside 6 minutes to go, and you can start seeing over on the far side of the stadium some of the Cinco Ranch Cougar fans heading to the exits. It's raining, but I think they understand that they've seen enough and they can kind of foresee the outcome. 17-0 with 5.5 to play, and Katy on offense now begins to start seeming to be insurmountable.
Well, Cinco Ranch, they played very well
indeed
this afternoon. Very solid football game. Look at the score, 17-zip.
Doron lofting over the middle. It's Mullins, and he runs into the secondary. Stiff arms Mathis Meyer out of bounds at the Cougar 23-yard line.
And it's been 3 big plays in this ball game that have been the difference. That is one of them. The big pass play to Mullins here that gets them deep down inside of Cinco territory. They had the trick play early in the ball game when Mullins took the screen pass through the touchdown pass to Williams. And then they also had a big pass play earlier in the half. They got him down deep in territory. But other than that, Cinco has had a very solid game defensively.
It's a connection of 49 yards. Pitch to the freshman DeAndre Glass. Austin Simmons first to make contact with him. Then he got some help as Glass takes it down to the 23, gaining 1.
That's the thing about playing Katy. You can play sound, structured defense the entire game, but this Tiger offense is normally going to come up with 2 or 3 big plays in a ball game that sets them apart and opens up a lead.
Mullins, 6 receptions, 111 yards today for the senior, who came in tied in District 19 6A for first in receiving touchdowns with 8. He has a touchdown pass in today's game. Back on the ground, and a fumbled exchange between Doron and Glass.
And once again, Katy fortunate enough to pounce on the football. Looked like number 23 for Cinco Ranch. That would be Austin Simmons. Had an opportunity to recover that fumble, but unfortunately the Cougars could not come up with it. Tigers retain possession.
So 3rd down and 11. Facing the Tigers from the Cougar 25, 4 minutes to go. Play clock down to 9. Rain continuing to fall. Angulo set in motion by the senior quarterback, Doron. Handoff to the fullback for the first time. Trey Williams gets a carry. He has the first touchdown of the game on the Mullins pass. The razzle-dazzle employed by B.J. Gott, offensive coordinator for Katy. 2 yards for the fullback, and it's 4th down.
And I think Dorian and the offense are going to stay on the field. Coach Joseph doesn't want to take a chance here in the rain with a special teams mistake on a field goal opportunity. They're going to keep the offense on the field and go for it here on 4th down.
4th down and 10 from the Cinco 24. Lone setback is Glass. On the stretch play, it's a play fake. Doron open, Williams, touchdown. Second touchdown catch of the day for the fullback Kyle Williams. It spans 24 yards. The exclamation point to the Katy Tigers day at Rhodes Stadium.
Well, it's always the tight end or the fullback for the Katy Tigers that seem to sneak out with no one covering them. And for the second time this afternoon, it's the fullback Kyle Williams, and he's able to sneak into the secondary, uncovered, easy throw and catch for 6.
On 3rd down, nonetheless, Doron, first touchdown throw of the day, his 18th for his season, his 48th for his career. 3 minutes to go as the extra point is good. 24-0 Tigers on their way to another district championship. Cane Island drive summary, 24-yard touchdown pass on 3rd down. Doron finds Williams. Williams' second touchdown catch of the day. His first from Garrett Doron, 7 plays, 76 yards. 3 minutes, 48 seconds. Perez knocks through the extra point. Exactly 3 minutes remaining in the District 19 6A championship game. Katy on their way to another district title. They lead Cinco Ranch 24-0.
Well, it's been a game of big plays for the Katy Tigers. The last one, that 24-yard play action rollout to Kyle Williams, and they lead it by 24. Short pooch kick here.
And it bounces before it is gobbled up by an up man, Matt Hansen, wearing number 13 for the Cougars. 2:58. So what we know, playoff teams out of this district, Katy, Cinco Ranch, Straight Jesuit, Morton Ranch. Morton Ranch victorious to claim the final playoff spot last night. 7-point victory here at Rhodes against Seven Lakes, 31-24. Straight Jesuit squeaked by winless Maid Creek, 32-27 out at Crusader Stadium. And later tonight, Tompkins taking on Taylor. Cinco Ranch is at Bel Air, or excuse me, will host Bel Air next week on Saturday here at Rhodes at 1 p.m. Here's a throw on the pump fake, and that one almost picked off by a leaping J.R. Blades.
Well, I think the outlook for both of these teams, obviously the design always for Katy as a state championship. For Cinco Ranch, I think we've seen this afternoon, despite the score, we've seen them play very solid football for the majority of this game. And I think this is a team that can make a run deep into the playoffs this season.
Yeah, I'm not envious, so to speak, for Bel Air next week. They are going to feel the wrath of the Cougars, as they did last year after the Cougars were dominated 51-0. And even though this is a 24-0 lead for Katy and maybe a 24-0 final, by no stretch of the imagination were the Cougars dominated in this game.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it was a very competitive first half. They trailed 10-zip. At halftime, it was scoreless until the last 3 minutes of the first half, when Katy came up with a couple of big plays. They got the field goal right before halftime. One touchdown here in the fourth quarter, touchdown in the third. So very well played game by Cinco. They just couldn't come up with the big plays when they needed them most.
3rd down and 4, snap back to Morrison, fires left, dropped by Rao. Coming in to make things a little more difficult over there was J.R. Blades. So that's 4 straight incomplete passes now thrown by Morrison. He's 5 of 16 today for 59 yards.
Didn't look like the Cougars came out with the same fire and intensity in the second half that they came out with in the first half.
We'll keep the offense on the field for the 4th down and 3. Elsewhere in the Division I bracket, because of Morton Ranch win over Seven Lakes, they will now get Lamar, who were victorious last night, 59-0 against Westside. After the 4th down play, we'll give you the Division II playoff picture. Handoff Fraley on 4th down and 4, breaks an initial tackle and leans to the first down marker. Maybe with the spot of the football, he'll get it. He needed 3. He got about 3.5.
Yeah, excellent second effort that time. There's a Katy Tiger down on the far sideline. We'll check his number in a moment. But a great run that time by Austin Fraley to try to pick up the first down, and indeed they are moving the sticks on the far sideline. So the chains will move with 2:03 to go here in the ball game. Cinco Ranch trailing 24-0, but they'll get a new set of downs.
In Division II, the number 2 ranked Katy Tigers will play host to Westside next Friday at 7 right here at Rhodes Stadium. Straight Jesuit on the other end, on the road to take on Reagan out of HISD next Saturday night, 7 p.m. at Del Mar. Cy Ranch last night with their win and Jersey Village's loss to Cy Fair are in Division II. If they beat Memorial and Katy beat Westside, you've got a matchup of 2 of the Houston's best and runners-up in their respective divisions in the state championship game last year. 2nd round, Cy Ranch could meet Katy, knowing what those 2 teams did last year.
Wow.
After the 1st down, Morrison throws that one batted down by Giovanni Stewart.
Location of that game will be key as well if it comes to fruition.
Well, if you talk with some Katy fans, you would be told that Katy doesn't want to play at Rhodes. They want to play at other stadiums because that provides a more of a playoff-style atmosphere. And they don't want to be close to home. They want to be at the big places because if they want to make a deep run, which they normally do, they have to play in the big places.
Berry Center could be a opportunity for that game. Rice Stadium, of course, is always an opportunity for the Tigers to play in.
Morrison sacked back at the 37. Bethley almost got him, but it looks like Mathis, maybe Ryder Anderson, will be credited with the sack there.
You know, I think those would be the most likely two destinations would either be the Berry Center or Rice Stadium for a Cinco Ranch Katy matchup.
And they met at Rice Stadium in 2012 in the Region 3 championship game, and Katy hammered Cy Ranch en route to their 7th state championship they won 2 weeks later. Here's Bethley. Ball is loose. It is picked up. Cinco Ranch will retain possession, but Bethley came in and absolutely squashed Morrison.
Well, you don't want Morrison getting hurt in the last minute of this ball game, and he took a wicked blindside shot from Corey Bethley, who came from the left side of the defensive front, and Morrison didn't see that truck coming, and he's lucky to get up.
50 seconds and counting until another district championship is claimed by the Katy Tigers. Too many to count from a football standpoint.
You got to use all your fingers and toes and your buddy's fingers and toes for that one. Another blitz.
Here's the blitz. Morrison eluded Wilder, and here on 4th down, he will get a first down to the midfield stripe with a flag thrown late.
Well, you got to admire the guts of this quarterback, Morrison.
No doubt about it.
He's out there battling to the final play of the ball game. He's going to lay it all on the line.
Face mask called on the Tigers. That is their 4th penalty today. Takes the Cougars down to the Tiger 35. This would be the 2nd consecutive shutout, and the 2nd shutout in total since these two teams began playing each other back in 2000. Can Cinco Ranch find a way to avoid it?
Well, Morrison's just now getting back to the line of scrimmage. The play clock is down to 18. It's in sync with the game clock.
From the Tiger 35, Morrison out of the shotgun. Forced to run to his right, and he is sacked by Mattis. Back at the 40. Cinco Ranch will not call a timeout, and the Katy Tigers are the District 19 6A champions. A 24-0 shutout. Consecutive years, a shutout victory over Cinco Ranch in this game. Both teams will head to the postseason, but only one will remain undefeated, and it's the home team today, the Katy Tigers, a 24-0 victory over their rivals, the Cinco Ranch Cougars. We'll return to wrap it all up here on Texan Live after these messages.
Come enjoy the heart of Katy, Texas, one of the most delightful cities in the Lone Star State. The best part? It's a short drive from Houston and minutes from the Energy Corridor. With places to stay and places to play, anything you'd like to eat, and an old town charm that can't be beat. Activities and fun for the entire family. Enjoy the best of both worlds in the City of Champions, Katy, Texas. For more information, go to cityofkaty.com.
Welcome back to Rhodes Stadium here in Katy, Texas. The district championship has been won by the Katy Tigers once again. Consecutive district championships dating back now to 2009. The last time the Tigers did not win the district title was back in 2008 when they lost in this game to the Cinco Ranch Cougars. For the 2nd consecutive year, a shutout victory for Gary Joseph and the Tigers. They won it last year 51-0. They shut out the Cougars today 24-0. Both teams en route to the postseason. Both teams should very well be very successful in the postseason, especially against their first-round opponents. But today, the Tigers, Kenmore, just a little too much for the Cinco Ranch Cougars.
Yeah, Katy with the big plays on offense, the big plays on defense this afternoon. Cinco Ranch played a very solid football game. There was really about 4 plays that was the difference in the ball game this afternoon. As we recap the score, and it was a scoreless first period. Then with 3:20 left in the second period, Katy took over at their own 42-yard line, a 34-yard flea flicker. Tony Mullins received the screen pass from Dorian. Then he went up top to Kyle Williams into the end zone. 7-zip Katy at that point. Then Cinco, after a 19-yard punt, set up Katy 1st and 10 at the Cinco 39. They were able to move it down 14 yards set up a 42-yard field goal by Chris Perez with 6 seconds to go before halftime. Katy went into the break up 10-zip. Cinco Ranch could not get anything going in the second half. Wilder with an interception set up a touchdown run by DeAndre Glass from 2 yards out. Katy led 17-zip in the third. Then they capped off the scoring in the fourth period. Kyle Williams, once again off a play fake, this time touchdown reception from Dorian, 24 yards out. Katy caps off the scoring 24-zip this afternoon. They win the district title against Cinco Ranch Cougars.
Dorian, 13 of 21, 183 yards unofficially, and a touchdown pass. Mullins leading the way, receiving 6 passes caught, 111 yards. Kyle Williams, 3 catches, 66 yards, and 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Glass with the touchdown, as Ken mentioned. Surprisingly enough, in a game like this, in the conditions that were played, it was the passing game that was what drove Katy to victory.
Well, Cinco Ranch did such an excellent job against the rush. It really forced Katy to throw the football, and they were able to use the Cougars' aggression against them with the play-action passes, the trick plays, got Cinco Ranch to over-pursue on a couple of opportunities, and that opened up those play-action passes to the fullback Williams deep in the secondary.
So let's project next week. Playoffs start. Katy gets Westside, who were dominated by Lamar 59-0. I won't mince words. I think it's going to be ugly.
I mean, that's essentially a bye week for Katy. I mean, they can name the score in that game, unfortunately. You hope for Westside that they can just come out and be competitive, have a good showing, but I mean, realistically, they have no chance next week against the Tigers. More interesting matchup, Bel Air coming here to play Cinco. Of course, you know, Cinco will be the favorites in that ball game, playing at home. You saw how they played this afternoon. Their only loss on the season, so they're definitely going to want to avenge this week's defeat next week against Bel Air.
Elsewhere, Straight Jesuit, not so much hobbling into the postseason, but they lost 2 consecutive here in the last 3 weeks to Katy and Cinco Ranch. Barely squeaked by Maid Creek last night. They'll get Reagan, an upstart Reagan team whose only loss in district came to the Lamar Redskins. And this was a team that when I first started broadcasting high school football, I was dealt a lot of HISD games. Reagan always seemed to be at the bottom of the district, not winning many or any games in the season. Good to see them trending upwards. And then Morton Ranch get Lamar. Lamar with a 59-0, as mentioned, a victory over Westside. They're only a couple of years removed from playing in a state championship game, losing to Allen up at AT&T Stadium. Lamar looking very good.
Yeah, Lamar has always been a powerhouse program out of HISD. They have a really great tradition over there as far as football is concerned, and they're hoping to make another deep run and surprise some folks as they want to make a run to possibly play a home game at NRG if they can get that far.
Ken, it's been too long, but a pleasure, sir.
Absolutely. Always great doing the games with you, Mike. Look forward to some more during the playoffs.
That's going to wrap it up here from Road Stadium in Katy, where the Katy Tigers win the District 19 6A championship by virtue of a 24-0 win over Cinco Ranch. For Andrew Marthin, our producer, Ken Moore alongside, I'm Michael Silvers. Until the playoffs, so long, everybody.